Hey, everybody. Welcome to Rewind and Reflect, where we believe in the universal truth that nothing happens by mistake or coincidence. And this is our time to share with you our experience, our life experiences on that with you. My name is Deb Miller.
Hi, everybody. I'm Susan Doyle. Hi,
Hi.
Deb.
Hi, how are you, honey?
I'm good, except I did get my hair cut, and
You're
I
not
have
happy.
never met a woman who likes their hair cut the first day. I'm just
Mm.
going to go there. So I'm not making any judgment. I needed a wicked gray cover up, and I'm like, yeah, hack it off.
Mm.
So I'm
Yeah.
coming around to it. Let's
It
put it
takes a
that
day.
way.
It takes a minute. I
It
am going
always takes a minute.
I know it's so hard. And I've been in a recent breakup, two breakups with dressers in the last couple of months. And the first one was really hard because I had gone to her for years and we had a close relationship. And then some things happen and you just have to make a change. So I did. And then I went to another woman who was lovely, but it just wasn't the right fit either. And I
Hmm.
feel like I personally need somebody to like look at me, look at my face, look at my hair and do something that is a style of some sort, instead of
Yeah.
regular trim. So I don't know. I'm going today. We'll see how that goes.
That's sort of what I attempted. That's what I was attempting to do, and I'm not really sure if it worked out. But, my husband always says, what's the difference between a bad haircut and a good haircut?
I don't know what.
2 weeks.
Yeah, that's
But
true.
that's for guys. And then
That's
so I said that to my daughter when she had a haircut that she didn't like a couple of weeks ago. She goes, that's for guys. I said, all right, you're right. You're
Yeah,
right.
but we have the especially the women with long hair have the ability to put it up and hide
Correct.
bad haircut. Guys,
Correct.
they are
So
just walking around with it. Yeah.
with a bad do. So,
Yeah.
listen, my hair will be up for a while until I figure my shit out.
You figure your shit out, right?
But I have no gray, so I'm happy.
That is
And
makes you
I have nothing wrong with people. I think God love you if you wear your hair with gray in it. No judgment at all.
no.
Just not for me.
I not even no, for me, not no judgment, but I'm a bit jealous because there are some women who have the most beautiful silver gray hair and
Hmm.
it just lights them up. They look angelic, like their skin tone is right, their eye color is right, and it looks so lovely.
Yeah,
It would not
that's
look
not
that
me.
way. I would look like a 90-year-old raisin. So that's not gonna happen. But I have a couple things to report. Uh,
Oh boy. Let's hear him,
yeah.
sis.
Well, one of them is, you and I met in person recently, and you met a couple of my friends. And, I don't talk about the podcast that much. I
Hmm.
probably should, but again, like I feel like this podcast we started it just to share and to collaborate and not necessarily make it this big public thing.
Hmm.
If it happens, it happens, whatever. But anyways, so one of my friends started listening and she is calls me after every episode and is like obsessed. She's like, "Oh my God." And then Sue said this and I totally related to that and then you did this and so it's really really fun to hear that.
Yeah, it is fun.
And it's fun because you and I have two different not viewpoints but kind of ways of living with regards to um you and your exercise and me and my slothness and
Stop it.
just how we are so much alike but we're
Yeah.
different. So
Hmm.
some people are going to gravitate towards you and others are going to gravitate towards me, and it was just really nice. So thank you for that feedback from everybody that's been reaching out. It's been really
Yes.
nice to listen to.
Yes. Yes.
And then I had this situation happen um to me, and well, it's just it just blew my mind. So everybody, I talk about this openly. I am on like this incredible spiritual awakening. I am like in it. So I I practice my meditation every day. I'm meeting with spiritual advisors. I'm starting, the veil is getting thinner and it's so amazing.
Okay.
So last week I was in Connecticut and Kevin's family has a house in Giant's Neck, which is in Niantic. And that's where we spend our time when we come to Connecticut. So I was outside one day in the driveway. I had just pulled into the driveway and I see this kitty cat wandering around. I never, like, you see it, well, you're not on TikTok, but like on TikTok or Instagram, like the reels, people are always finding
Mm-hmm.
animals and rescuing them. And so I was like, oh my God, is the universe gifting me a cat? Like, I'm not even a cat person. Like, as
I
a
know you're not. You're an animal person, so
I
I don't
don't
think that you would ever shut the door on a cat, but it's
any
not something that you would go seek out.
right, exactly. So I um I get out of the car and it's this beautiful white cat with gray markings. And I sit on the ground and it comes up to me and it gets right on its back and I'm tickling its tummy and it's purring. And I'm like, wow, so I thought either the cat is pregnant because it was a little,
Mm-hmm.
or very well taken care of. I'm like, I can't imagine this is some random cat. But in all of the years that I have spent there, over 10 years, I have never seen a stray cat.
And
So
did it look mature? Like, did it look
yeah,
okay?
and again, me not knowing anything about cats more than just, that
Yeah.
they're cats. I couldn't really tell what shape it was and it looked healthy, whatever. So anyways, I'm outside and I film this cat purring and walking around me and I send the film to Kevin and I said, I think we might have a new pet. And he just said, oh Lord, okay, well, if it's hungry, give it some food. And I was like, I don't know if I need to do that because I know that it'll keep coming back. Anyways,
Mm-hmm.
skip forward. It ended up walking away on its own. So I was like, okay, that's the way it's meant to be. So the next day, I'm on my walk around Giant's Neck, and lo and behold, out of the bushes comes the cat again. I'm on a different road this time, and I sit down on the driveway, and the cat comes over to me and starts, and I'm like, oh my gosh, hi. And I was like, all right, this is the second time this cat has come to me. So I think
On a different route?
yeah, on a different road. It was a different road that I
Wow,
was
okay.
on originally, that our house is on, that the house is on, it's on a different road. So I sit down in the driveway of the house that I happen to be walking by. The cat comes out, we say hello, and then a car pulls into the driveway. And a young girl gets out, young 20s. And she looks at me and smiles, and I go, is this your cat? And she said, yes, that's Moo. And I go, oh my gosh. I said, okay, I'm so glad to know that the cat has a home. I said, I've seen it, now this is twice. And so she comes over, she scoops him up and she goes, oh yeah, he's an indoor outdoor cat. And we just moved here from Essex, which is like 20 minutes away. And she said, so we let him out and then bring him in at night, but yeah, he likes to be outside. And I was like, and then I told her, oh my God, okay, that's good. So the next day, whatever, walking, and I hadn't seen Moo in a while, like 3 days. And I had seen him for 2 days in a row. So I was concerned. So I don't know why I'm obsessed with this cat. Like, me and cats. I don't care about,
Mm-hmm.
I love animals, don't care necessarily about cats. But something inside of me was like, you got to make sure he's okay. So I'm walking past the house slowly and I see a man kind of make his way out of the house, going into the garage. And I was like, you're going to think I'm nuts. I said, but are you Moo's dad? He said, yeah, yeah. I said, is he okay? He said, yeah, he's inside eating his dinner. And I said, oh, good. Because I hadn't seen him in a couple days. And anyways, we just introduced ourselves and
Mm-hmm.
giggle and off I went. So I'm telling this story last or Sunday night at Father's Day to my mom and my dad and Hunter. And Hunter says to me, "Is this cat white with gray markings?" And I said, "Yes." And he sends me this picture. Oh, can you share the screen with me? Or let me share screen?
Hold on. I think you can do it now.
He sends me this picture.
Stop it.
This is Moo the cat in Essex at Tim's grave. Hunter is visiting Tim,
Stop it.
and every time he would go to the grave, the cat shows up. And I have other pictures too of him, like, nuzzling next to Hunter and all this and that. So
Come on.
I know. Hold on. I'm going to show you my picture. There's Moo.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Stop it.
So I'm telling Hunter and my mom and dad, and Hunter says, "This is a cat white with gray markings." And I said, "Yes, how do you know?" And he goes, "Mom, remember," because he sent me that picture. And I was like,
Mm-hmm.
"Oh, that must be your dad." And he said to me, he said that cat walked around Essex so much. And when they moved, which was like a couple months ago,
Mm-hmm.
everybody in town is like missing Moo. And I just can't even believe that in all the places in all the world, that cat found me in the same little neighborhood. And it's the same cat that would sit on Tim's grave when Hunter would go to visit him.
You think it's Tim?
I don't know if it's Tim's spirit, but I think there is some kind of connection.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely there's some kind of connection. I don't think Tim lives in the cat, but I think that because of where the cat showed up at his grave with Hunter, and then the cat he must have felt some kind of connection and
Mm-hmm.
sought me out because of how close
True.
I was to where
So do
he's.
you think you and Hunter have the same guardian angel?
We don't have the same, no. I mean, I know for a fact like who my spirit guides are. Hunter has different spirit guides. I know that for a fact, but I do know that, Tim is watching over him, no doubt about it.
Mm-hmm.
I had whenever I meet with my spiritual advisor and we tap into that spirit realm and she channels information. I'm told always that like, Tim has hands on Hunter. He's got
Mm-hmm.
his whole guy, all of his guides and his spirit team is with him. But they're different than my spirit team. They're different.
Yes.
Everybody has their own. So
That's crazy.
this
That
whole
is
thing,
crazy.
I know, it really got me thinking like
Now,
about.
how far away miles wise or proximity is the cemetery and like where you saw Moo?
It's a 20-minute drive. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's Essex to Niantic, which, yeah, is probably a 20-minute drive. I don't, probably maybe 10 miles. But Moo's family moved to Giant's Neck from Essex. So it's not like Moo made that trek.
Okay. All right.
But for Hunter to be in a location and Moo to visit him at that location,
Mm-hmm.
and then me to be in a completely different location and Moo to come visit me, to me, there's a significant connection there. Now, some people
Yes.
might say like, oh, it's just a cat that was wrong. First of all, and that's fine. You don't have to listen, you don't have to believe, you believe what you want to believe. I
Right.
believe in the law of energy, and I do believe in spirit and
Hmm.
angels and all that. 150,000%.
I
There's no
agree with that.
doubt. I have had situations happen where I know that they exist.
Right.
And I think everybody in this world has had a spiritual experience, even if
Hmm.
they're not aware of it. Some people don't want to be aware of it, others want to be aware of it, and they ask for signs and all of that kind of stuff. And other people are just, they think it's hokey pokey. And that's okay. Like, you got to believe in what you believe in.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm gonna go in a little different direction where I don't think it's necessarily people don't want to. I think there are either lives that you live that you're not as awake, or in within the life here that we're living now, there are varying degrees of being awake and receptive
Yes.
to that. And I think the people who say, "Oh, I don't believe in that," or "I don't want to," I think it speaks more to that they're just not awake enough to see it, hear it, feel it, or respond to it, or
I
accept it.
I love that. You're absolutely right. It's an awakening. And sometimes
Correct. Because I think I'm awake to a certain level of it. I remember, like, I don't know how long after my dad died, probably a while, maybe another year. He died at the end of June, um years ago. And it was nice out and I was running, so it could have been that summer, but I doubt it because it wasn't super hot. Anyway, I'm running and I had a really hard time with um him dying, in the sense that he was such a good person, and then there was some people in my life who were not good people, and they were older than him and still alive, and I was just like, why? Like, it didn't make sense to me. It
Mhm.
didn't make sense to me, his death. You know what I mean?
Why couldn't they die instead of him?
Kind of, and it's horrible to say, but it was like, how did they get to still be here on Earth being negative and mean and judgmental and all these things? And my dad gets taken, and he was none of those things.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, he seemed to do just everything right, right?
So
So
just,
I'm running around the reservoir in West Hartford, up on the mountain. I look, in the sun, there's some puffy clouds. And I was just feeling very heavy that day for some reason. And I'm not kidding you, I felt this hand on my back, sort of pushing me along. And the sun came out from behind the cloud. And I
mm,
knew it was my dad just sort of saying, "It's okay, just keep going. You'll
yeah.
be fine. The sun will come out."
Mm,
But I haven't, like, and I know that I have a sister, or I had a sister-in-law on my ex-husband's side, who lost a husband. And she would tell me stories of she could feel the mattress next to her depressed in the middle of the night, and or at night, or while she was in it, and she knew that it was her husband who had passed away, either coming back to check on her, or he still hadn't sort of like crossed into a different realm and was kind of coming back just to let her know that, you know everything was going to be okay, kind of
yeah.
thing, and that she could feel him one more time.
Mm,
But to the point that I made earlier is, I haven't felt a lot since then. And I don't know if that was just sort of what I needed from him.
Mhm.
Um, I do have to say that there's one other time that my kids and I were at my mom's and we were doing some sort of holiday or something. And I don't even know if my brother was and his family were there. And the lights flickered.
Mm.
And Olivia, my daughter, said to my mother, "Oh, that's Grandpa. He's here."
Aw.
Hmm. And it was his way of just saying, hi.
They can't,
He loves my kids.
right.
So yeah.
Yeah, the one of the most frequent ways that they communicate is through electricity.
Hmm.
So to have that flicker is like, that was major.
Yeah.
And
I would say that is the closest thing that I have felt in regards to a spiritual event or a spiritual force or some sort of pull, I
mhm.
guess.
Well, those are huge. I mean, some people, ask repeatedly for signs or please let me, feel you or hear you and they're getting them. They just aren't feeling them because of whatever reason. A lot of times it's just you hear something or you feel something and then you talk yourself out of it immediately. Um,
Well, it's very similar to opportunity. Like there's opportunities in front of us constantly. It's whether we're awake enough to know that they're there for us or that opportunity is a possibility for us.
Mhm.
Most of the time, you're not awake enough to see
Right,
it or
right.
feel it.
Yeah, I've always been a sleeper, as you know that. And people that are close to me in my life know that I spend a lot of time sleeping. And so, and you know, I used to be like, oh, why do I need so much sleep? But what I'm learning is that I'm getting a lot of communication from my guides when I sleep. I
Mm,
I dream like I live multiple different scenarios throughout the night. And
yeah.
I live in some past lives. I live in current situations. My dreams are as weird as everybody else's, but sometimes they are like, I always wake up and remember them. And I'm the type of person that I can get up and go to the bathroom and come back and then get and remember that dream and get back into it. Like
Oh, wow.
yeah, I'm very much in touch with that part of my psyche, I guess you would call it.
Hmm.
And so I'm told that the reason why I require so much sleep is because that's when I'm open enough to getting the information that I need to get. And
Interesting.
yeah. And so and it's funny because when I when I'm awoken suddenly, like by an alarm clock or whatever, I know that there was like I'm leaving something that is
Hmm.
unfinished, you know?
Interesting.
And it sits with me all day long, like
Yeah.
feeling of like there's something more that I need to know or do or whatever. And I'm just honing in on those skills more and more every day.
Hmm.
And I just got to tell you this story that happened the other night. And it might be for another podcast, but I was invited out to dinner with this group of women that live here on Longboat Key. Now, for those of you who know Longboat Key, it is very upper echelon. Like it costs money to live here. So there's a whole group of women who do the tennis thing, the pickleball thing, the dining out thing, the party thing, and they're all dressed to the nines all the time. They have the
Hmm.
most beautiful clothes and jewelry. I do not do that. I am flip-flops and tank tops. And a lot of these women I've met because I take care of their dogs and we've just become friends.
Right.
So we've been invited to a bunch of these parties and we just have never been able to make it to any of the parties because we've been traveling or something has come up. But this particular one was a birthday dinner for one of the women who I like, but there was going to be about five other women who I don't know. And I was very anxious about meeting them and being enough.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, when I tell you that I tried on multiple different outfits, I have sundresses, but literally I live in tank tops and flip-flops. I am not
Yeah,
a girly girl. So, anyways, I
that
found
is something that we have in common.
yeah, yes. But you like to shop and you look great and things. I don't feel good when I'm dressed up. Like I just don't feel good. Anyway, so fast forward, I'm doing a meditation, I'm saying some prayers, and my girlfriend picks me up. And let me just rephrase by saying like that's not, you know, I don't spend a lot of money on clothes or cars or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
I'd much rather spend the money on travel or experiences rather than things. So she picks me up in her beautiful car and she's dressed up and she looks amazing. And we get to the restaurant and we sit down and the other women show up and some of them were just dressed in, a simple dress and others came in like t-shirts. One came in like, I swear her hair was like, she didn't even brush it. It was all messed up. And I just laughed because I thought to myself, I thought I was going to feel really out of place,
Mm-hmm.
and I felt like I was not going to be enough for them. And when I sat down at this table and I really just focused on not the outside, but the inside. And the one
Just focus on being present,
being
just
present,
being there.
but not looking at, you know,
Yeah,
it's just like, hearing I was able to really, when they talked to me, we had deep conversations, it was so different than what I anticipated it
I
to be.
know. Isn't that always the way?
Always. And this one woman who sat next to me, she had lost her husband. She was in a couple years ago, but still, that derails people,
Mm-hmm.
obviously. And she was talking to me about her drinking, and she's like, because obviously I don't drink, so everybody notices that. And then Debbie tells everybody, the hostess, like that about my book. And so everybody is aware that I'm in recovery. And then they
Mm-hmm.
start drinking a lot. And then they start telling me how much they need help with their drinking. But my point is because I've been so focused on understanding that people behave the way they do because of outside events that have happened to them. They are hard to
Mm-hmm.
but we all have the same spirit inside of us, the same light.
Agreed. Yes.
And so once I was able to do like I just was like, this is so silly of me to be like so concerned with, am I gonna fit in? And
I
then I was
agree.
like, I I don't like I'm good. I'm good. It was
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
it was an awakening just because I was able to really just focus on their innards and not their
Do you
outside.
ever think that, well, thank you for sharing that. I mean, that's a great story and we've all been there, right? But do you ever think that as you're saying this to you, they're saying that to themselves, like, oh God, there's going to be this new woman there. I don't know her. Oh my God, what should I wear? Do I look okay? Am I enough for her? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, and to me, if you can share that commonality, even in your head, you know, you just understand that we're all in the same place. Like we're all in the same place. We all have the same dialogues and insecurities. I mean, they are, except for nuances here and there, but we're all the same. We're all the same. We all just want to fit in, right? We all just want to be accepted as we are and who we are. Um,
Yeah,
and
and
we all want connection.
we all want connection. And I think that's what I felt the most was, these women are all very close, and there's a large group of them. There's like 20 of them that are in when I babysit for one of the dogs,
Mm-hmm.
she has her iPad out, and there's a group text with all of them on it, and it goes off constantly. So they're in constant communication. They're always planning parties, always planning trips together, all of that. And that's not who I am. Like, I'm not going to do the big group getaway with people because
Right.
I get very anxious when I'm around a lot of people. It just does. Like the whole coordinating of things and like it just gives me a lot of anxiety. It's just I need to do the one-on-one, you know,
Mm-hmm.
the small group. But these women just love, being all together and it was, I guess the point I'm making, because I wanted to kind of focus on this our spiritual uh situations that we've encountered, but that kind of was one for me. That was like my guide saying to me, like, you're gonna wait. Every time I think too much about a situation,
Mm-hmm.
I look back and I go, why did I waste that energy? And this is what
Correct.
they teach me.
Right. Yes. Why was that energy wasted? But I think it's also just like everything else. I think it's a lesson. I think it's,
Oh, for sure it was a
I think it's a chance to go inward.
yeah. And
I
guess
think
what?
it's a chance to awaken at another level spiritually when so here's the other thing I'm going to say is when you start to realize that that is a waste of energy, you're becoming more awake.
Yes. And guess what? I will never do it again.
Sure you will. Of course you will. You're going to
No,
do
no,
it
no.
again.
I'm never going to worry about mm, the way I look for other people.
Okay, well that's good. But don't judge yourself if you do, if it comes back up at some point.
Yeah.
It's that's all about, the journey, but it's just like being present. The moment that you realize that you're not present is the exact moment that you're present. So the moment that you realize that you've wasted this energy and space and time and thought and brain storage,
Mhm.
um, you're becoming more awake. You're awakened to realizing that.
Yeah.
So it's a step. It's a necessary step. And then what happens is you want more of those conscious moments to stream into one another. And then you have like a whole hour, and then you have a whole day, and then you have a whole week and then it just you become more and more.
Yeah. And I wonder at some kind of subconscious level if that's why I didn't show up for the parties that we've been invited to. I know we haven't been here and there has been other things. It wasn't like I was not going and sitting at home. There was other reasons. But part of me probably was like relieved because I didn't feel like I really was going to fit in. And
That, or you just spiritually weren't ready to hear the what it had to offer.
yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. And now I do love that. I do see it as a gift. And um I am not making, I'm not making excuses for who I am. This is who I am. I don't like wearing makeup. My hair is
Right.
always up, like it's down right now, and I'm gonna put it up in a second. I don't wear a lot of jewelry. Like I just don't.
But what I'm saying is you had to skip all those others
Hmm.
to get to this point.
Yes, you're right. Yeah. Yeah.
And you had to go the other night to have that aha moment.
Right.
I think, people talk a lot about aha moments, and then um, I look at aha moments as like starter spiritual events. They're like
Mhm.
starters.
Yeah.
It's like your hearing and your eyesight are gearing up
Yeah.
to something greater. Or all those aha moments stream together to make something really spectacular
Yeah, but I
or
agree with what
shift.
you said. You have to be s- spiritually awake enough and probably, have enough your bucket filled enough to be able
Mm-hmm.
to
Agreed. Yeah,
experience that and hear it. Like I needed to really hear and like you're enough, it's
you
and
are enough.
I think that's just really tough for some people. I mean, I know it's been tough for me
Me
probably
too.
my whole life.
Me too. I don't think I've ever met a woman who hasn't had that conversation on multiple occasions with herself
That makes me really
or in certain situations. But what I'm saying too is the very people that you're wondering, am I enough for? I can guarantee you're thinking the same thing. Am I enough to bring to the table for a new person,
yeah,
somebody I haven't met?
yeah, yeah. And the other thing that I always find kind of comical is like women all have had major careers and they're retired, even if they retired early or whatever.
Hmm.
And the way they know me is because I walk their dogs, but yet, and here's the thing, how beautiful is that? Like they don't give a shit. They don't give a shit that like I'm the dog walker for some of them. Like
Right.
they have gotten to know me and they like me as a human being
Hmm.
enough to invite me to social gatherings, and
Agreed.
um that's something.
Agreed. I agree with that. It is something. It's all something.
Yeah, it
Just
is.
like we have to be grateful for everything, the good stuff and the stuff that we perceive to be not so good. I don't like to say bad, good and not so good. Each step on your spiritual journey is a necessary step, regardless of whether it feels good or feels a little prickly.
Mhm. And when it's prickly, those are the lessons that I really need to
Yeah.
yeah.
And so instead of running away from the prickly, you have to sit with the prickly to learn something.
Yes. You got to sit with it and be poked a lot.
Yeah. So you got a little poke the other night.
I did. I did. And then, you just
But then I think Moo came around to tell you that you're on the right path.
yeah, moo. Isn't that an incredible story?
That is crazy. It's incredible.
And again, people might be like, "Oh, please, it just happened to be that."
No.
And to me,
Nope.
it's like I do not like I choose to look at it like Moo is an absolute gift. And he was
Mm-hmm.
a gift to comfort my son as he sat at his father's grave, visiting his father.
Yep.
He was a comfort to him. And he was a comfort to me, just meeting him. And
Yep.
when I get back to Connecticut, I'm going to knock on Moo's door and I'm going to show them the picture of Moo sitting with Hunter at Tim's grave.
Yes.
And I'm going to say, can you believe this?
I love it. That is the
He's a
best.
special animal. So
He is.
anyways, I
He
wish
is.
everybody here that they have beautiful spiritual awakenings and that veil gets, lifted more and more so they can see the beauty of all of their guides that are taking care of them and watching over them and,
Yeah.
are
Yep. And those aha moments are them knocking on the door trying to get you to wake up.
that's right. That's right.
Until next time, Lovey, I love you.
Love you too. Wait, make sure you tell everybody how they can get in touch with
Oh,
us.
sorry. I always forget that part. Please, we'd love to hear from you. Either private message us or DM us on social media, or you can write to rewind and reflect with us at gmail.com. We'd love to hear stories. We'd love to hear um, how we resonate with you. We'd love to hear if you want to hear like a topic suggestion. We'd love to hear from all of you.
Okay.
So until next time,
Namaste. We love you all.
namaste. Love you.
Love you
Bye,
too.
everybody.